This video is made possible by our loyal Patreon supporters. Visit patreon.com.
Hi, this is Athena Jezik. This video is a part of the premium series that is available at the Patreon site for Psychetruth. And I also want to ask you to check the link below and check in to take a survey, because we would like to get an idea of what you want in massage videos so we can better tailor it to what the needs out there are for you all. So thank you so much for checking the link below and clicking into that and taking that short survey. Be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you haven't already, follow us on social media for tips, tutorials, giveaways, and daily inspiration. I'm going to be working on the upper chest and the head, and the premium video that we've been creating is going into a little more detail as far as teaching the technique and the routine and protocol that I've used for years that has been very helpful for people. So please check that out. So we're starting here. I'm going along the trapezius muscle in the back with my thumbs. I'm not going too deeply. I'm going as far as the muscles are allowing me in. Just getting a feel for what needs to be done, letting the person begin to relax and go inside of themselves. Trying to relax the brain. You know, it's better not to think when you're having a massage, because thought process and heavy-duty thinking can change the relaxation of the body. And we want to turn off all of that stuff so the body, you can just be with your body and the body's consciousness and enjoy relaxing, sedating the nervous system, and allowing the stress hormones to just take a break for a while. So I'm still working the neck a little bit. I'm going to go along the clavicle. So here I'm on would be the bottom side of the clavicle. When you're standing, comes into the corner, and then I'm going to be going around the shoulder. Deeper in is the shoulder joint. You know, the neck is kind of a complex structure. It turns in many directions, and so there's a lot of muscles. Plus it holds up about 10 pounds of weight with the head. Now here my hands are just gliding up on each side of the spine. So I have this, and then I'm doing the same thing on the other side. I know it's kind of hard to show. It's a little easier to do standing. So you just want to, as the head is going to the right, you're on the left side of the vertebrae, stretching that side of the neck, and then you change direction of the head, and I'm on the right side of the vertebrae here. So that gives you some idea. One of the things you can check for is the unconscious stress patterns of the neck. Sometimes people will stop you. They'll, as you're moving this way, they'll stop. They'll just tighten up. It's best not to push through that. If that happens, just hold it and keep giving a little stretch underneath the neck. Keep giving a little stretch and just wait on it. If you have to, lighten the load a little bit, lighten your touch. Whenever there's a stop like that, don't go deeper, go lighter. You'll find that less is oftentimes more. Okay, so there's not a whole lot of muscles in the neck and face. So I'm going to do a little bit of lymph just to get it flowing. And then I'm going to show you something else here. Now I'm going to take one hand. It's going to be underneath the neck. The little finger is going to be right up along the edge of the skull. And the rest of the fingers are stretching out, so it looks kind of like this underneath there. Only it's with my other hand. And I'm going to hold that, and then I'm going to take this other hand. I'm not going to go to the hyoid bone yet. Instead, I'm going to go to here's the esophagus, and kind of behind it is where the thyroid gland is. So I'm going to very gently, you have to be very gently with the neck. And some people have neck issues, so just respect that. If they have neck issues, don't do this. Most people are okay with it though. And then I'm just going to latch onto that thyroid with mostly energy. I'm doing a little bit with my subtle touch, but most of the pressure is coming from the energetic push. There's a traction of the neck, which I'm doing with the bottom hand. Then you can just take your hand on top and articulate the thyroid by just moving it up and down, then move it side to side, up and down, side to side. You can roll it side to side this way, and then you can press a little down and up. This is the hardest one, where you're kind of pushing a little down and then up. You don't get much movement out of it. But that's just a little thing to open up the thyroid, loosen up some of the muscles around there. It's really more of a visceral manipulation type of a move, but it's a nice thing to add in a massage. Now here's just draining some lymph nodes along the chin, but I will be getting into the muscle more than with just lymph work. So I'm going to be up at the chin, following the chin line and being right on the edge of the bone, coming into the top and working it down a little bit more on the side of the chin. So here we have the bottom of the chin actually right underneath, and then we have more the top of the chin, or the outside of the chin. And then we're going to pull upward this way with the facial muscles. Now you notice I didn't put really any oil on my hands. They were oily enough from before. And I did put some oil on the upper chest, so there was enough there. You don't want to oil the face down too much. Follow along the eyebrows and along the forehead. Okay, you can also do a little plucking, where you're just kind of plucking the skin. Just little plucks. Just imagine your fingers being like little beaks, and they're just pinching, but not pinching hard, just pulling the skin up on their face, getting into the nose, brushing the nose kind of downward. Now when you get to the bridge of the nose, you can bring your fingers in here. This is a cranial hold. Press in on the bones, but not real hard. Once you get kind of melded with it, once you feel like you're connecting in with it, then back out a little physically as you push in a little more energetically, and then direct the bones, lifting them upward toward the ceiling. And then keep lightening the pressure of the physical. And then as you begin to develop the energetic work, but I'll just say now, just work with lightening, getting lighter and lighter and lighter in your physical touch. Because that's really where you're going to find the energy work to be the most effective, is if once you get that down. And then the glabella, you can just kind of separate that as well. Very light work. Okay, and then we can just do some scalp work where you're moving the skin. There's a thin layer of muscle over the head. Just kind of work it that way. You know, you can always tell a really good hairdresser by the way she washes your hair. She really gets that skin moving as well, instead of just kind of brushing the hair follicles around. I love to get my hair washed by someone else. Okay. Then you can go underneath the eyes very carefully and without a lot of pressure. And you want to move them upward. Everything should kind of go in an upward line, but you're also following the contours of the face. Upward line around down the cheek in an upward line. You can get into the ears, rotating just the earlobes and the ear cartilage. Get a little bit into that, behind it. Also, we kind of forget about going behind the ears, along there on both sides. Okay, and then we can come into the clavicle again. And then just brush across the upper part of the chest. There's a thin muscle called the platysma that pretty much covers this area, and then there's the pectoralis muscle underneath. The pectoralis muscle is right here, and you can kind of come into the arms this way from the head. If you're working for relaxation, you want to keep the movement a little more fluid with one body part to the other. So even though maybe the pectoralis muscle might be attached to the arm, it just feels like you're in more of a flow when you work it with the upper chest. Okay, so that's about all we can do with the upper body, upper chest. You can then check the rotation of the head, and that's very fluid. Cradling it, make sure that they feel comfortable. I always have my hand, and then the head is actually resting on my arm. You'll keep your arms well developed this way. And the other thing I'm just going to mention really quickly here is if you have a client when you lay their head down, their head goes back like this, it's a good idea to put like a book or something hard, not super hard, maybe a towel that's folded, because you want to have their head, their back of their neck longer. You don't really want it crimping like that. And the reason is you're going to be crimping cranial fluid, and you're also going to be keeping those muscles of the neck shorter. That's not a good postural position to be in. You want to be lifting up and back. So if you find that they're just not able to have their chin relatively horizontal to the wall behind you or perpendicular to the table, do consider lifting them up a little bit. In fact, it wouldn't have hurt to have maybe a half an inch here. You see how much more level that is than just coming down. Although that's not bad. So you can get away with a little bit of leaning back, but you really don't want to have these heads that come down and they're like that. You'll also find that when the head is like that there's a bigger rounding of the shoulders, because that's how the head gets that way. The shoulders will round forward, and then the head has to look up, so it comes this way. So in postural work, which might be something to show you at some time, would be to keep this head up and back so that the shoulders can rest properly on top of the rib cage. And the ribs, the lungs are air, so that can just float on the air, which is how it should be, instead of trying to hold your whole head up with everything. You want to more float with just this head and neck being positioned properly on the structure. So with that, I want to remind you one more time, please check the box below and take the little short survey so that we can better design what you are looking for in these massage videos. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your viewing, and I look forward to seeing you again. So it's good to have a routine, because then you do things equally and you can cover the bases really well. When you do apply the thumb iron, remember to just stay where the muscle is inviting you in, because it can be kind of uncomfortable for the person on the table if you go into this too deeply, and sometimes you can trigger cramps. In massage therapy, you're moving circulation toward the heart. So anytime that you're moving with more pressure, you want to make sure you're moving upward, or if you're on the arms, toward the heart. Sometimes you shake the joint a little bit to have it shake. You can get your hand under there a little bit easier. You can come up the other way too with the fingers under here. Now you want to make sure your fingernails aren't long, and your hands will kind of run along this area.
Introducing Yoga Plus, offering a free series every month with over 300 different videos. Take control of your health. Work out anytime, anywhere. Yoga Plus. Download now for free.